the answer.
All right, let's do it. All right, Zach, so why did Rolling Hills Church decide to first get involved with Faithful Friends Mentoring?
Rolling Hills first got into volunteering and partnering with Faithful Friends because our heart is to serve and to connect with people in various ways. And we have a lot of ministry opportunities that involve people coming to us, but we also want to go out into the community. And one of the things that I love about what you guys get to do is you guys provide a real easy on-ramp for churches to get into the community, for people to go in to serve and to care for people in the community. So it's not just expecting people to come to us, it's providing an opportunity for us to go to the people.
And what does the process look like with becoming a partner with Faithful Friends Mentoring? How easy was it?
The process for partnering with Faithful Friends has been pretty easy. You know, meeting with the staff there, getting to know them, and yeah, it's really easy. I don't know what else to say. I would just say the process for partnering with Faithful Friends has been really easy.
Yeah. And what has your role been as being kind of the representative of the partnership with Faithful Friends Mentoring?
I'd say my role has been being able to play that kind of like that middleman, connecting with, you know, the staff at Faithful Friends, and then being able to communicate kind of what you guys are doing and what you need to our church. And if people are interested, connecting them to you guys. And then you guys a lot of times do a lot of the deeper questions, you know, handling that.
And how has Faithful Friends impacted your church and your ministry in the local community?
I would say partnering with Faithful Friends has been a huge blessing. It allows us to, allows the people in our church family to get outside of our church body, to get outside of a community that a lot of people aren't used to, and not necessarily bad or wrong or different, just different. And so allowing them to connect with people from different backgrounds and seeing how God has grown them in that as well has been really encouraging. People learning how to love people outside their little bubble. I'd say that's one of the ways I've seen it.
Can you recall any stories you've heard from former or current mentors from Rolling Hills that have stuck with you in their experience?
So one of the mentor-mentee relationships that sticks out to me, we had a gal mentoring another little girl, and one of the neat things about that partnership or that friendship was the fact that this happened during COVID. And one of my firm convictions is that when we step out and serve and we're being obedient to what God's called us to, we grow too. We get to experience the blessings of God, and it was very obvious for her that in this season of where there's a lot of isolation and people are disconnected, you know, being able to have that connection with that little girl was a blessing for her as much as the relationship was a blessing for that little girl.
Mm-hmm. How would you categorize those who become mentors in terms of life stages and passions with the folks you know here at Rolling Hills Church?
Yeah, so we've got volunteers all over the board. We've got volunteers that are young adults to people that can be, you know, well into their retired years. And the neat thing is kids love them regardless of their age. You know, so if you're concerned about being on the more retired end of the spectrum, kids still love you.
Any suggestions you'd offer for other churches who are thinking about becoming partners with Faithful Friends?
If you're thinking about partnering with Faithful Friends, I highly recommend you just jump on that opportunity, because the fact is, if you're wanting to encourage your church family to step out and serve, this is really an easy way to get your people out there and doing it. I know this can make me sound lazy, but it's so easy. You know, it's such an easy opportunity. I just point people to Faithful Friends. Faithful Friends gets them connected to the mentees and their families, and I've got people in my church family that are reaching the community, and it's the amount of work on my part to get them out there is little. Now I can pour into my volunteers, these people, and I don't have to worry about figuring out how to get them out there.
Why is Faithful Friends Mentoring so important to you personally?
Well, And I'll have to admit, I've got a little bit of a bias here on why I really enjoy Faithful Friends. There's a significant family connection points. I've got my brother and his wife that I've been mentor and mentees, and now they're forever friends. My dad is a mentee, and they've been together for a few years, and they love it. And my kids love getting to hang out with his mentee when we get to interact. And more recently, my sister now is working with Faithful Friends, so the guys are like it's kind of like a family ordeal for us in some ways.